How is versioning done in FHIR?
Okay, so I think before we talk again about how versioning is done specifically in FHIR, there is a standard called semantic versioning. Okay, now what they say is, let's actually talk about. I think you might have seen this in software before. Like somebody releases something, right? Like they'll call it version 1.0.0, or maybe someone calls it 2.3.4. Like, what do these mean? Now, the reason I'm talking about general software versioning is FHIR also happens to do this. Now, what they usually talk about is this represents the major version. Okay, so this is the major version, and this is the minor version. And this is usually a patch. Now, what do we mean by this? Okay, so whenever you are building software and then you have, for example, you have a bug fix or you're just fixing up a security issue, you are doing something that's like very minor, you're correcting something, then you usually do a patch release. So for example, let's assume that we have software that's in production. We usually let's start with 1.0.0. Let's say there was a bug that was introduced and now you're fixing it. Now you're making a new release. What you'll do is you'll update the patch release, so you'll call it 1.0.1. Okay. Now, if you are releasing a new feature, right, like you're adding something, but it's very important that whatever you add does not break existing functionality. Okay. So whenever you're adding new stuff and you can ensure that the new version is still compatible with the older versions, then you do a minor release. So here we are updating the minor number. So this will basically be 1.1. Again, like you can let go of this 1 now and just call it 0 because you're now updating it in the minor version. Of course, if there are any bug fixes, again, you will update the patch number. Similarly, if you have a major release, now a major release is a breaking change. Okay, a lot of people. There's a lot of hype around, like releasing from version 1 to 3 or like major version change. In FHIR, this usually is R4, R5, R6. These are all like major shifts, right? So what implementation guides do is they also have their own semantic versioning. But whenever there is a major change that breaks compatibility with the previous versions, then you make a major release. So in this case, from 1, we've upgraded to 2.4.0. So FHIR does exactly the same thing, except it started off with DSTU2, and then it went to DSTU3, and again all of this stands for trial use, and they are not yet fully mature. Then they called it R4, then they called it R5. Now all of this is just a major release version. In fact, if you check the FHIR website, you will see the semantic versioning going on. So you'll see 4.0.1, for example. Or you'll see 4. I can maybe Preetham, can you open the FHIR website? I just want to show them. Do we have just FHIR R4 or something? Yeah, just. So if you see the version here, this is 4.0.1, and just click on R5. Let's see what release they are on. Again, they're saying it's 5.0.0. So they've done a major release, but they haven't made any patch releases or like anything that breaks. I want to see like R4B. Let's see what R4B is. R4B again adds other things to R4, but it's not a breaking change. So here we see the 3 here. So that represents that they've added new features to version 4, but they haven't broken compatibility with 4. So all of this R5, R4, R3, these are just like marketing labels. They're not really. I would say it's easier to just look at the semantic version and make sense out of the FHIR spec.
If you like this and want to learn more about FHIR, we just put out a whole course on FHIR fundamentals, and there is a full module dedicated to just what is FHIR and the basics around it. Just check it out at medblocks.com/L/FHIR fun, and it's completely free. You can just go to the link and check it out.